Hello everybody, welcome to Cape Rugby TV. It's Wednesday night, 9 o'clock, and we bring you what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Tonight, of course, we bring this show to you under very difficult circumstances. We all know it's a national disaster. The coronavirus is out there, and everybody's trying their very best to try and make sure that it doesn't spread any further. So please bear with us during the course of the show as we talk to you about the coronavirus, the impact of the coronavirus. But at the same time, we'll try and bring you some entertaining rugby news. Big thanks, before we go ahead, to our partners that have continued to support us. Direct Access, your financial services partner. Of course, Score Energy Drinks. Yes Electrical, Intercape, who of course are the official transport providers for Western Province Rugby and the DHL Stormers, and Thorburn Security. So we're happy that they keep supporting us. Let me introduce you to my panel this morning, and then thereafter I'm going to read for you a message from the president of Western Province Rugby, and then we'll take a look at some of the friendlies games that happened over the week, and we'll still try and keep you entertained in your house while we are under such trying conditions. Jerome Parwater, how are you, man?
Good, JP. Yeah, it's not good news, but we had a great weekend pass. We played against SVD in Heidelberg. So yeah, I don't know for how long we're gonna close doors, but yeah, we had a great weekend last week.
Well, we'll talk about all that during the course of the show. Also joining me, Morgan Newman.
How's it, James? How are you going? Good to be here. Thanks.
Great. Definitely different circumstances tonight.
Yeah, different. Something we've never experienced almost. It feels very, very new, very sort of, I'm not too educated on the whole of what's happening, and yeah, we've got to tread carefully, but we'll get through this. That's the most important. We've got to get through this. We stick together, we'll get through it, and hopefully things will get back to as normal as possible at some point. Right,
folks, we of course are going to bring you some entertainment during the course of the show under these trying circumstances, but as I said, let's take a look at some further information from Western Province Rugby. We of course have a lot of information about matches that's being cancelled on an international level and provincial levels, but at a domestic, local level, we need to know what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. And so I'm going to read to you a statement from the president of Western Province Rugby, Mr. Zelt Maree. He released this on Monday and said that following on from the president, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa's announcement yesterday, Western Province Rugby feel it necessary to implement the following measures with immediate effect. Stop all schools' rugby training and matches until the 14th of April, in line with the dates as provided on schools' holidays by the President, effectively a Department of Education decision, but this would be the directive to the high and primary schools associations. He goes on to say, stop all club, community rugby training and matches until the 14th of April. All players to train on an individual basis, group training to start after that date, and to leave a 2-week reconditioning and training period, and then matches start again on the 25th of April until further notice. Western Province Rugby will suspend all face-to-face General Council meetings until the 14th of April and will advise on any change of this for the rest of April following any further announcements from the President of South Africa. And it's very likely that all face-to-face meetings will only resume after April 2020. Critical General Council meetings might be done by teleconference or other viable tools available, and bearing in mind that not only individuals will have access to these tools, at least not all individuals will have access to these online tools. Educational documents to be provided as and when updated, and it to be distributed to all clubs and associations. Implement all self-isolation, quarantine, and medical care guidelines as per the World Health Organization's, the President's measures, and the Department of Health and the National Institute for Communicable Diseases. Right, folks, we are going to talk in a second or so about some of the hands-on components that you need to be concerned about, also as part of the release from the President of Western Province Rugby. But let me first speak to my panel here. Jerome, strong, bold decision taken by Western Province Rugby.
Yeah, JP, I'm actually glad as we hear the statement of President Cyril Ramaphosa. I mean, who are we not to follow that? And it's good that the President of Western Province Rugby said that cancel all sports, because we see worldwide all sports has been cancelled for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think it's just for us because we can actually learn from all the other countries. So we can maybe prevent some of that by doing what we are doing now.
Yeah. Morgs, difficult times. Your take on things at the moment?
Yeah, James, I mean, difficult times, but definitely the right decision. You know, I think the health and safety of our people and the communities and so forth is way more important than a rugby fixture that needs to take place on a Saturday or a soccer or a cricket or whatever it is. So 100% the right decision. We're going to struggle. We're going to need to, you know, we're going to have to come out of this positive. You know, I think we've got to start spreading positivity. Self-quarantining or self-isolation doesn't mean sitting at home doing nothing. I think there's still plenty of things you can do, you know.
Yeah.
And the list is endless. I saw a list actually the other day. There is still lots we can do from you know, it doesn't mean sitting at home on the bed and playing PlayStation all day. It does mean getting out there. You know, you can still go exercise on your own in the forest somewhere, or go for a run somewhere, and get in your exercise. Because when we come back to the normality, call it that, we're gonna have to hit the ground running, and that's the most important thing.
100%. Jerome, from a work perspective, Western Province Rugby is of course made up of many clubs out there, but at the same time you've got union head offices at Newlands, and you've got the High Performance Centre at Newlands. How's this impacting you guys at the HPC? What sort of measures are you taking?
Yeah, look, JP, yesterday was the last day that the Stormers was in at the HPC. And we also have all the sort of protocols in place at the Western Province, like washing hands and what not to do and not what to do. And we also don't allow anybody in the facility now. People must respect that. And because we can monitor what we can monitor, but so just to prevent any other sickness. So yeah, so that's it. And yeah, the rugby Stormers is stopped now. I'm certainly gonna see maybe we don't know what's gonna happen further this week, but the junior contracted players who fall under me will come in on Monday, and we'll advise them the way forward and what we're gonna do. So yeah, but if we can do that, we will do that. If we can't, we'll do it via whatever, WhatsApp, Skype, emails, whatever we can do. Yeah.
So basically, it's a shutdown. Every possible isolation precaution that you can take. Do you guys think that this is I mean, there are a lot of questions out there from individuals. So we'll ask questions around this. Can I train in a smaller group? Is the club still open? Can we come and practice on our own? You know, there's some people will still be asking the question of, yes, okay, there's not a proper practice session, but does that mean me and my friend can come and practice? I don't know, Jerome, you want to?
No, JP, they can't, because the Stormers guys all left there with the conditioning coach gave them what they can do and what they must do. Yeah. And also staying away from gyms, because you don't know what happened in the gym, who went to the gym. Yeah. So they must do as much as possible at home, yeah, and send data in. And as Morgan was saying, you can go have a run, go to the forest, go run. But I have a lot of friends in Italy, JP, so I'm in contact with them. I spoke to one guy last night also. I mean, they've been locked down now for 9 days in the house. They're not allowed to leave the house. They can only leave the house if they have a special permit to go to work. So, but that's how far they are. So I think we like I say, we can learn from the rest of the world. We don't have to get there. Yeah. So if like Morgan was saying now, it's not worth it. If you can't train, you can't train. If you can't go out, you can't go out. Yeah. So stay inside. It's the best.
Morgs, your instruction to club guys that are asking those kind of questions?
Well, look, two things I think, Jep, is number one, there is a lot you can do. So go and find out what it is you can do on your own. I mean, if you have literally you need a 2 meters by 2 meters, you could do heaps of, you know, burpees, body weight calisthenics. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of body weight exercises you can do. And then going for a run on your own, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, taking your dog or going on your own and finding a forest and going for a run. Obviously, go where it is safe and go where, you know, it's known to be more people around. But and go for a run and, you know, keep cardiovascularly strong, so that when you come back getting into the gym and so forth, that'll be something that you'll do. You know, we are anyway at the point now where I think the season was about to kick off. and when the season's about to kick off, you are about to taper down on the amount of weight training you're doing and move into a more cardiovascular approach. So we're probably lucky that we've caught it at the right time, but the health and safety of the people, your friends, so forth, is of utmost importance. Never over and above what you can do on a rugby field.
One of the things that the president said, avoid non-essential activity. And you should be asking yourself, is this essential? Anything. And
Correct.
So for people to not misunderstand, it's not half measures. It's absolutely no training at clubs, period. If you do it in self-isolation, that's fine, but at club level, the instruction, if I interpret it in the right way, is no club activity.
Well, James, the reality is we've seen, if you look at where coronaviruses started and where the source is, they have gone into complete lockdown. And we have seen the number of cases be reduced through a complete lockdown. Yeah. Obviously, we're not at a complete lockdown scenario just yet. But if we can simulate what other countries have done and seen the numbers reduce, then we should try and go as close to that as possible just to see our numbers reduce. Because currently, and I speak under correction, but over the last couple of days, I see our numbers has slightly increased. And this can be, without panic, we need to be sensible and go, right, as within your own confinement, what are you able to do that stops you from going out or stops you from being amongst people too often?
And the thing is, I suppose also we don't know where it is right now. It's a constant flowing process and we don't know where it is, which is why there's a blanket over everything. Right, folks, we're going to take a bit of an ad break. When I come back from the break, I am still going to be showing some friendly matches between St. George's and Strand, Scottsdene and Eerste Rivier, and of course Hands and Hearts and Blue Jets. And we'll take a look at some of the friendly results that happened over the weekend. We won't be seeing too many matches for a while, so we trust that you're going to be able to enjoy this in the comfort of your own home. And over the next few weeks, we will still try and keep you as comfortable and as entertained as possible. We know that you are self-isolating, and we're doing our best we are planning on doing our best to make sure that you remain entertained at home. And of course, we'll take a look at Jerome Parvater's Western Province 15 up against SV Adir, and we'll give you some of the personal hygiene advice that has also been released by health experts and the president of Western Province Rugby. So please don't go away. We'll see you after the break. Hello everybody, welcome back. We continue with our broadcast of Cape Rugby TV, and as I mentioned earlier on, under very difficult circumstances, there is a clampdown on club rugby sport. There is no club rugby until further notice from Western Province Rugby. At this point, the information heads up until the 14th of April, with possibly the training period and starting matches on the 25th of April. But all of this is dependent on further notice, and certainly the request is out there to self-isolate. As we said, we were going to try and keep you as entertained as possible during this difficult time. We were out, of course, at St. George's up against Strand, and this you could pretty much consider a derby match. These two teams right on each other's doorstep.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks. This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
Hello everybody, welcome back. Yes, as we said, bringing to you under very difficult circumstances, but nevertheless still we're going to do our best to keep you comfortable at home and keep you entertained. So, St. George's up against Strand. They share the field at Gastro. Jerome, if ever there's a derby, it's a derby when there's two teams on the same field.
Yeah, and you can't say one team has got home ground advantage because they're supposed to know the wind, the field, and what to do on the field. But looking at the game there, obviously St. George's a bit too strong, but Strand didn't give up. I saw they scored a good try there, and yeah, it's almost a pity. I see there's still some big boys at St. George's. You want to keep these guys going. It's a pity what's going to happen now, but as Morgan was saying, that's the guys that must be in their room and use that space that they have. Whatever they can do, they must do. They mustn't stop now because they're going to need that when the competition starts. Yeah,
that result there, St. George's winning 15-13. Both teams playing at Gastro. St. George's playing in Super League B, fourth in the log last year, and of course Strand in Super League C, Moogs. But when it comes to derby time, as you see in the score there, 15-13, the margins are always very small.
Yeah, no, you take the form book, you throw it out of the window, and then you see hope for the best. That's by no means a true reflection of who plays where, you know. St. George's taking a little bit of their sevens form, I would imagine. I would imagine St. George's to be really high up in, you know, very close to Super League A, actually. Where they, obviously they've been there before, but, you know, with their experience, with their sevens guys that get down, there's some big boys there that need a bit more conditioning now, and you can use this time effectively, like Jerome says, and they can come back and really be a force to be reckoned with, and maybe sneak their way back into Super League A next year.
Well, I think that's probably what they're aiming for now. Is that we did manage to do some interviews there, folks, and we managed to catch up with, or at least we are going to be catching up with some of the coaches and captains still during the course of the show. We'll speak to Scotstein's coach Cornel Greef and their captain Erwin Bambi. We'll speak to Eerste Rivier coach Francois Allens, as well as Eerste Rivier captain Gershwin Koopman. And then when we look at Blue Jets and Hands and Hearts, we'll speak to Tembani and Ngubelanga, as well as Blue Jets captain Ludwig Vakeli. And then, of course, Hands and Hearts coach Peter Links and their captain Alistair Frasenberg. All that still comes up during the course of the show. But as we said, we're going to keep talking about the current national disaster and, of course, the impact that it's having at Western Province Rugby. And one of the components that was sent out also as call it page 2 of the Western Province Rugby Football Union's president, was around the fact that the club rugby leaders needed to educate their players and officials about the virus and to encourage personal hygiene. So I'm going to read to you what was in that press release, and it went as follows. Sick players and or officials who are sick and display flu-like symptoms are to stay at home. Hands must be washed regularly and hand sanitizer where possible. Maintain social distancing. Maintain at least a 1 meter distance between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. And practice respiratory hygiene. Ensure that you and the people around you follow good respiratory hygiene, and this means covering your mouth and nose with your bent elbow. All right, that's this. There we go, the bent elbow. Use a tissue when you cough or sneeze, and of course throw that tissue in the bin straight away. And should any further instructions be received from the national government, World Rugby, SA Rugby and SANZAR, members of the Western Province Rugby community will be informed accordingly. And he went on to say that the prayers go out to the world, the country and its citizens, and all of those of Western Province Rugby. Jerome, if we look at these different components of advice, it's not that hard to practice. In fact, it's simple hygiene.
It's exactly, JP, but I think the people really now is the time to educate yourself. I've been in a supermarket on Monday evening, and I keep on moving forward, and this lady behind me keep on coming closer. And my wife actually said to me, keep your distance 1 meter. Yeah. So that this lady can understand. She spoke to me, but she's actually speaking to this lady. But people must just understand it and just follow the rules, JP. I don't think it's that difficult to
That's
do
what
that.
We're referring to as social distancing.
Exactly.
And don't play with the numbers. If they say 1 meter, don't try and say, oh, well, I'm only 75 centimeters. Just cut it completely. Distance yourself far enough that you have no risk of infection, but most importantly, that you're not able to spread it either.
Yeah, I mean, these are rules that we should look at implementing going forward, categorically. Personal space, personal hygiene, these things are all very important, and the same way you can pick up the common flu, you can pick up coronavirus, and that's what we need to understand. So just keep your space, obviously you cough into the elbows, all these things. We laugh about it and we joke about it, but the reality is that this virus could spread rapidly if we're not cautious, and hopefully we can rather be overly cautious than sort of just haphazard and not abide by the rules.
Yeah, right, folks. So that is the definition of social distancing. Keep a distance between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing, but don't just draw the line there. The more you can do, the more you can contribute to keep yourself self-isolated, then absolutely do that. All right, we're going to take an ad break. We'll keep talking about this and keep reminding you of the personal hygiene components that you need to be practicing right now to contribute to this. So stick around, don't go away, and as I said, we will keep bringing you some rugby entertainment. Next game will be Scottsdene up against Eerste, and as I mentioned, we've got some interviews coming your way as well. Welcome back, folks. Right, you're watching Cape Rugby TV. Of course, as I mentioned earlier on, we are bringing this to you under very difficult circumstances. The coronavirus is out there, and we're all doing our very best to make sure that it gets stopped in its tracks. And from a Western Province rugby perspective, that means no rugby activity for the foreseeable future. We'll await the further announcements. But as I said, we will try and make sure that you stay entertained, of course, while you're at home. Because, I mean, before we go to the game, Morgs, one of the things that we risk, and I think Jerome was also touching on now, is that during this time of self-isolation, you get bored, you want to do things. We need to keep people occupied and keep them entertained. Otherwise, life in isolation can be very difficult.
It can be, Japes, but there is heaps we can do, and we must really go and exercise those, find out what it is, speak to friends, because communication doesn't stop. And that's what we need to understand. If you don't know something, there is still, if you have access to it, the internet. If you don't have access to it, there is still someone on WhatsApp who you can speak to and ask questions about and so forth. So there is a lot we can do in isolation, and it's actually probably not a bad time. Being forced home, call it that, it's not a bad time to sort your life out, and walk out into the world in 2 weeks' time, refreshed and ready to rumble. And
do a bit of spring cleaning.
Yeah, do a bit of spring cleaning, really get your ducks in a row, filing and so forth at home. I mean, I'm trying to do it at the moment, and I've just realized now I probably need more than 2 weeks.
Yeah. So remember, I mean, it's important that we create some sort of level of calm, some level of engagement for people that are at home and have decided, I'm not going to the malls, I'm not going to the gym, I've got no practice tonight, and it's sort of our responsibility to contribute to that process. And we've got 10 years of rugby footage we can show you, going way back.
Again, on talking to my friends overseas in Italy, they can go to a mall, but they're very disciplined. So at the mall, there's a security with hand sanitizer, with everything, and they only allow 10 people in at a time, and that 10 people must come out, and they monitor all these people. Their names are on there. So there's certain things that we will be able to do, but it's just discipline. Now is the time for our people just to be disciplined and just to understand. It's not to be funny, just to understand, because they, at this moment there in Italy, if you don't have a sort of a pass to go to work, they can lock you up or they can fine you or whatever, but that's the discipline that we need to install here also.
All right, folks, as we said, we'll do our very best to keep you informed every step of the way. But let's take a look at the friendly match between Scottsdene and Eerste.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks. This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
Right, there we go. Scottsdene against Eerste Rivier. That match played at the Aikendal Sport Ground as a curtain raiser to the Hands and Hearts and Blue Jets game. Morgs, another close game here. 26-24 win to Eerste Rivier, but you can't really read much into it.
Yeah, that's what you want to see from preseason friendlies, isn't it? High scoring, lots of tries, nice and close, both teams giving the ball some air. And it looks like some serious tries that were scored there, and some serious, what do you want to call it, try celebrations, I think, like so diving all over the place. Yeah. So yeah, good to see. I mean, look, it's you can't read too much into it. It's there's still now we have, because of the break. I mean, we can't even more so we can't. But there was still a bit of time for teams and coaches to tweak one or two things, trying different combinations. So I wouldn't read too much into it. But nice to see that teams are scoring tries. And again, go home, work on your defense, and come out and be able to, as long as you can score tries. Then I think that's a problem a lot of coaches sit with, is they can't score tries. Here we see the two teams that can score tries, just defensively they can obviously go home and do some more work.
Yeah, and Jerome, I mean, for both of these teams, Scottsdene comes up to Super League B after promotion into Super League from Super League C, and Eerste Rivier comes up after promotion from the City region, I believe. Yeah, up into Super League C. So now we've got two teams with sort of a breath of fresh air, giving it to each other, and when we do resume play later in the year, I think we're going to see two teams that are very excited about their new league play.
Yeah, that's a good result. That's actually what Eerste Rivier wants, because they're going to a higher league. And Scottsdene, we know what they can do. I mean, last year they were one of the best sort of teams in Super C in the competition that they played, and moving up for them. But I also think like Scottsdene, hopefully, I mean, by losing to Eerste Rivier, they gave a lot of their sort of fringe players an opportunity to play, so the coach can see it's also the right time now to. There's a lot of players that I don't know from last year who's playing there, so hopefully that's their sort of fringe players. But it's a good result for Eerste Rivier.
Yeah. All right. Well, we did manage to speak to some of the captains and coaches at Scottsdene. Cornel Greef, of course, coach at Scottsdene, and Erwin Bambi, the captain at Scottsdene. Let's hear what they have to say.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
Ja, nee, definitief. Dit is ons tweede game vir die jaar. Baie young boys in die spanning. Van ons senior players het ons nog gedrop, as ek ook kan noem. Maar ons bou voor in die span. Ek dink die ouens is meer gefokus om te speel vir ons community Scottsdene, om 'n gemeenskap te bou. En ek dink Super League B gaan nie maklik wees vir ons nie, maar hiervanaf gaan ons dit vorentoe bou. Hands and Hearts, meestervolle span, sterk span. Maar ek dink wat belangrik is vandag vir ons is om net die bande te snoei. As 'n gemeenskap by mekaar te kom, ons in Kraaifontein, kom ons en vir ons belangrik om weer ons gemeenskap by mekaar te bring. En ek dink rugby is 'n goeie een om 'n unity te bou tussen die twee clubs. Ons 'n baasspeler wat vir die twee spanne speel. Maar ek dink hier vanaf vorentoe dink ek dit gaan goed doen vir Kraaifontein in terme van sy rugby.
Ja, ons vat elke opportunity wat ons kan kry om ons skill op te skerp. Soos ek gesê het, is friendlies, maar ons probeer ons taktiek kry, pleis mekaar, die groep probeer gel met mekaar, so vat net soos dit kom. As 'n lekker gevoel vir die klub, is baie excitement tussen die ouens. Ons 'n liga waar meeste van ons nog nooit gespeel het nie. So is exciting jaar wat voor lê. Ons almal sien uit daarna en ons almal probeer om ons naam groot te maak. Ons is altyd reg vir alles. Scottsdene wat dit maak.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
That's, of course, Coach Cornel Greef and Captain Erwin Bambi. Before we go to Eerste Rivier's coach, Francois Adams and Gershom Quipman. Jerome, the guys talking about social cohesion there. I know we're going into self-isolation now, but it's good for these teams to be interacting like this.
Yeah, it's good. I know there's always big rivalry between Hands and Hearts and Scottsdene, so it's good that they share one field, and you never know in the future. They might decide, listen, let's just make one big rugby team in Kuils River, and then in Kraaifontein, and they can really be a force to be reckoned with all the guys that they have there, and the amount of expertise in the two clubs. But it's really good to see that they help each other out in terms of facilities and fields.
Yeah, right, folks. If you want to win yourself a case of Score energy drinks, then SMS the word SCORE to 33090, 33090, and you put yourself in the mix to win a case of Score energy drinks. Competition is running, and we'll make sure that we get that case of Score to you somehow. Might be a little bit more tricky at this time, but we'll find a way to get it to you. Congratulations to last week's winner, Carl Steenkamp. Carl, you walk away with a case of Score energy drinks. Somebody from Cape Rugby TV is going to be in touch with you shortly. We'll play out with the interview from Eerste coach Francois Allens, as well as Eerste captain Gershwin Koopman.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score energy drinks.
Ja, eerstens my maat wil ek sê eers die Kraaifontein mense kan uitkom in hulle numbers en om te sien dat die velde so vol is verblywend. Ja, kyk, ons het met 'n nuwe proses begin die jaar, jy weet, en ons prosesse val stadig in plek in. Maar soos ek vir die manne gesê het, ons moet net patience hê en rustig wees en dinge sal in plek val. Jy weet, die wen is maar altyd lekker, maar vir nou is dit 'n bonus en ons geniet dit. Ons is definitief besig met voorbereidings. Ons is elke oefen aan hard besig en die manne is uit in hulle numbers. En soos ek sê, ek kan nie baie sê en ek wil nie baie sê nie. Ons is net hier om die rugby te geniet en die Super C te geniet.
Eerstens wil ek vir die Hemelse Vader dankie sê, was so 'n lieflike dag. En dan vir my kant van Eerste Rugby af, ons het 'n harde tyd gehad op die veld. Ooit nie verwag ek het so wees nie. Die supporters, was goeie support. Die spelers was vinnig, was klipbaar. Ooit het dit ook verwag nie. En ons het baie werk nog om dan doen. Maar is net vir ons om terug te gaan en op te werk. Om die ding, ons kom van 'n league van onder af en ons is ons eerste hier en ons het baie voorbereidings. Ons alles vriendlies, ons klaps boek aan ons. Dit is vir ons om kompeterend te wees. Nou kyk waardeen beweeg ons vorentoe. So ons, die manne wat daar bo in Super C en daar kom baie goeie rugby vorentoe, maar ons werk baie hard.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score energy drinks.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. We talk about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. And as you know, Western Province Rugby is on lockdown at the moment with club rugby activities and competitions, and we await further notice. And right now, all clubs, participants, members, players, athletes, administrators are requested to practice self-isolation. At Cape Rugby TV, though, we will continue to try and bring you some entertainment while you are going through this difficult period. We were, of course, out at Aikendale over the weekend, where Hands and Hearts were up against Blue Jets. Some big points on the board here. Let's take a look at this friendly.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score energy drinks. This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
Right, folks, some big numbers on the board there, lots of tries, lots of running rugby. I mean, Jerome, that's what you expect from club rugby. That's certainly entertaining rugby. Crowd is loving every minute. There's lots of points on the board. Your feeling?
No, it was good, and it's good to see the big boys were actually running like all loose forwards there, but quite big boys. So it's good to see that their conditioning are up there, and and I think like Blue Jets, they must understand they need to defend also. You can see they can score tries, but if they can work on their defense, they can also be a good team. But it looks like Lynx is doing well there with the Hens and Hearts, and the crowd like it, and we all know in Kraaifontein that's what people go out every Saturday. They want to see good rugby. They want to see tries scored. I don't think they care too much about the defense.
Having fun,
but,
having
fun, play. That's.
Morgs?
Yeah, end-to-end stuff. Great tries. I mean, the fans are out there in their droves again. I mean, again, I just look at this and you have to get excited about. Club rugby, the tries, the people coming out on a Saturday. We're going to miss that, Chase. I think, without trying to beat around the bush, it's knocked us massively. How many people were there? The numbers were probably in excess of 500 maybe. And what are these people going to do on a Saturday? We need to find a way, or we're going to need to find answers over the next couple of while to keep everyone entertained as that game was, because it was great rugby. People came out together, enjoying each other's company. It's tough times our country's going through.
Yeah, and I think we're going to more and more appreciate the fact that we have got club sports on a Saturday. Now that we don't have club sports on a Saturday. Folks, we managed to catch up with Tembani Ngobelanga as well as Ludwig Vakelev, the coaches and captains of Blue Jets, as well as the Hands and Hearts coach Peter Links and Alistair Frazenberg. And when we come back from the break, we'll take a look at Jerome's Western Province 15. They played up against SVD over the weekend. Back in a sec.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
To playing Hands and Hearts, I know Hands and Hearts, they've got certain style that I need to show off these boys in order to boost them. For the coming league, I'm telling you, the game that we get here, we can make up the top 6. Our plan this year, we're planning to play 5 as top 6, and from the top 6, the people, the other teams must be aware of Blue Jet, because Blue Jet have got something in the case.
It was a good game for the boys. Both teams, they was trying out their best. They were trying their best to play, and the Hands and Hearts was showing us that they play together, they gym together, and they know what they're supposed to do. Yes, the Blue Jet is going to be ready. It's going to be ready. Yeah, even now is ready for the 2020. It's ready. Only thing I can say, they are ready.
Ja, ik denk vandaag was het een grote toets voor ons fiksheid. Ons geweet Blue Jets gaan komen. Hulle hardloop van enige plek van die veld af, hulle skop nie, bal nie. So dat was regtig 'n toets vir ons fiksheid. Hulle het gespeel tot aan die einde. So ek dink ons is reg vir die liga. Ons weet Superliga B is 'n moeilike liga, maar ek dink ons voorbereiding was goed. Ons het vroeg begin in Januarie, so ek dink die ouens is reg vir die liga.
Ja, ek dink dit was 'n goeie toets vir ons. Blue Jet het gekom met alles. Ek dink die toets het gelê by wat ons moet doen en wat ons gaan ontvang van hulle af, en hulle het amper heel game gekom vir ons, en dit is 'n goeie toets vir ons wat wil vorentoe in die league in die top 3 wil eindig die jaar. Vir my boys wil ek net sê ons moet net bietjie harder werk, kom oefenveld toe kom werk ouens. As jy 'n ander ding soos om nie te kom werk, jy kan net beter raak.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
Right, welcome back everybody. You're watching Cape Rugby TV. Just a reminder to everybody out there, Western Province Club Rugby currently on hold until further notice, or at least until the 14th of April, and we'll find out more as we go. Keep watching Cape Rugby TV. We'll keep you informed every step of the way. We're in touch with Western Province Rugby, and any advisories that comes out there, we'll certainly be sharing on our Facebook page, as well as here on the show every Wednesday as quickly as possible, and we'll get you with the latest information. In the meantime, remember, practice self-isolation. We're doing our best to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Very important. Jerome, you guys were out over the weekend, your Western Province Rugby 15 side up against SVD. The guys must have had a bit of fun there.
Yeah, the guys love the atmosphere around the field, the crowd there. It started actually Friday when we went to our captain's run. There was lots of people coming to see the boys, and the guys just thought like they're gonna have fun and enjoy the crowd and enjoy the game. It was a good game.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at some of the highlights. Western Province 15 up against SVD.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks. This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
There we go, Western Province Rugby 15, of course, in action against SVD. Jerome, is this the SVD district side, the proper, or is it a club squad?
No, it's their proper team. Yeah.
All right, have we got a result there?
It was 95-14.
95-14.
Yeah, and
for
we had
your Western Province club rugby players.
Yeah, we had 10 contracted guys and 17 club guys.
It's
quite a split there.
Yeah, big result, chaps. I think only coaches can coach that. I mean, that's not players. You can't give no credit to the players when you win 95. No, I'm just kidding. But nice balance. I think it's extremely. I think the balance between contracted players and non-contracted players is important. And I will fight. I think I'll hop on that for a long time. I think the non-contracted guys that are mixing with senior professional guys is extremely important, because these guys bring it back to the club and they can influence another 10 or 20 guys. And in the end, we end up with a much stronger Western Province league.
Yeah.
And you can see Western Province, we're blessed with a lot of talent and we're blessed with a lot of good rugby players. And if they're nurtured correctly, we really can go a long way.
Jerome, I know that club rugby has been suspended now, but these players, they will still go back to their clubs now and start when they are allowed to. They go practice at club level now.
Look,
Supersport Challenge has been.
It's been stopped. So when the clubs start, and hopefully then all the rugby will start, but we can't actually, or the clubs must understand the way the injuries are going with the Super Rugby guys now. We've put a lot of work into these guys also, and it's also good to reward them by giving them a cap to play for Western Province. I think coaches won't be selfish or whatever. I know they need the players, But a lot of these guys work hard since November to get a proper Western Province cap.
But you of course have to now get to you have to wait and see how things unfold now before you do your next planning. You don't know what fixtures will be in the future. You don't know who's going to be where. It's all wait and see now.
Yeah, look, if club rugby is going to start, rugby is going to start. So in general, that's what I'm basically saying.
Everybody's waiting.
Everybody's waiting. So we have to wait. But as I say, if it's going to start, we're probably going to need some of these guys to play.
Yeah. So on that note, is Super Sport Challenge, if you play for Super Sport Challenge, is that a full Western Province senior cap?
It's a full cap.
All right. Okay, folks, yes, a lot of friendlies played over the weekend. Let's quickly take a look and then we'll wrap things up. St. George's with a win over Strand. Kelsriver beating Helderberg. Unimol with a 1-point win over Belhar. Franschhoek with a 2-point win over Paarl. Blue Stars with a 31-26 win over Lower Paarl. Wraithby went down to All Saints. Elsie's went down to Collegians. Goodwood with a win over Kraaifontein. That was your derby match over the weekend. Vineyards 19-5 over Tygerberg. And Albion's 21-5 over Police. And then, of course, Masi Pumalele with a win over Retreat. Scottsdene went down to Eerste Rivier. NTK went down to Hamilton's. Blue Jets went down to Hanson Hearts. And Belleville went down to UWC, while Hamlets with a win over Primrose, and Kylemore 45-12 over Stelkor. So lots of rugby action there, of course, over the weekend, and that's going to be it for now. It's going to take a bit of time before we find out what happens next in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. The president of Western Province Rugby Football Union has said that all sports activities, at least club rugby activities, training and matches at schools and clubs are suspended at least until the 14th of April, and all meetings also suspended. Stop all club rugby, all community rugby training and matches until the 14th of April, pending further notice. And then, of course, potentially the matches could start around the 25th of April as well. Just a reminder then to all of you in terms of some of the safety precautions. Sick players and officials, if you've got flu-like symptoms, you must stay at home. Wash your hands on a regular basis. Use hand sanitizer. Maintain social distancing. Keep your distance between yourself and anybody you're talking to, anybody you're with a minimum of a 1 meter distance between yourself and somebody who might be coughing or sneezing. Do not touch your eyes, nose, or mouth during this time. And of course, practice good respiratory hygiene. In other words, do not cover your mouth, cover your nose. If you're going to cough or sneeze, cough into the bent elbow, and use a tissue where possible. And of course, throw the tissue away into a bin that is going to be discarded. And Western Province Rugby, we will stay in touch with Western Province Rugby and give you the very latest information as and when we have it. For all of you that are out there right now, please be strong during this time. Be tolerant with each other, and find every possible way to contribute to the national disaster, trying to prevent the spread of the corona disease. Self-isolation, isolation are absolute key to assisting the authorities on clamping down on the spread of this disease at the moment. And we ask that everybody take every possible precaution and make every possible effort to contribute to the stopping of the spread of the disease. Jerome, thank you very much for joining me. I know it's we're right in the early phases of this, and I appreciate you coming to the studio. It's been great having you here.
Yeah, JP, as you said, it's good to be here, and it's good to give people some advice on some club rugby, and hopefully next week we'll have something to talk about again. So hopefully we'll see each other again next week.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think from a sports perspective, we'll do our very best to keep you entertained at home. Morgan Newman, yes, same to you. Glad that you came in again under difficult times. I know you've also got your hands full.
Yeah, always good to be here, Jeps. Thanks for having me. I think it's important, patience is important at this point in time. Discipline is important, all the elements that we need in the rugby field, let's practice them off the rugby field as well. I think discipline is going to play a massive role. Let's not take this lightly, but we can come out of it. We will come out of it, and let's stay positive. Thanks for having me.
Right, folks, that's of course it for us here at Cape Rugby TV. We will keep you informed with news as and when we have it. For those of you that are out there, stay strong. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.